In this special episode of the Butt Chronicles, we take a look at the fire controversy with Beavis and Butt-Head. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and butt munchers alike. Welcome to the Butt Chronicles, your audio guide to everything Beavis and Butt-Head, and I'm your host, DJ Glowing Ice. And in this special episode of the Butt Chronicles, we gotta cover something that happens around the time of how these episodes are coming out. It was in early October of 1993 when news stories and all of this started coming out. And the incident happened on October 6th, 1993. And this incident was called the fire controversy, which is the reason for all the editing and censoring of any reference of fire in the Beavis and Butt-Head series. So we're going to go through what exactly happened during the time, what was happening behind the scenes with the show. We also go over some revelations that have come out very recently about this controversy. So let's just get down to brass tacks and check out what the fire controversy with Beavis and Butt-Head is all about. The 90s. One of the greatest decades for music, movies, and soda, like Crystal Pepsi. It was also a time when more than any other decade before it, music acts, movies, and TV shows would get blamed outrageously, and Beavis and Butt-Head was no exception. Beavis and Butt-Head had been a series on MTV for less than a year before it was accused and hit with controversy. By middle of 1993, there was an incident between two young girls who were sisters used an aerosol can to imitate one of the episodes of Beavis and Butt-Head. Fire damage happened to the house and in their room, but luckily nothing tragic happened during this incident. From this incident and a lot of other incidences across the country, Beavis and Butt-Head was getting a bit of heat, and in response to that, what they wound up doing was pulling a few episodes that were too outrageous. One of the episodes that got pulled was Home Improvement, where the boys sniffed paint thinner, and then another episode that got edited and pulled was Stuart's House, where the boys sniffed gas from a stove, and they inevitably blow up the house. The biggest controversy, that unfortunately ended in tragedy, was yet to come. This was called the fire controversy. On October 6, 1993, in Moraine, Ohio, a 5-year-old boy had set fire using a cigarette lighter to the mobile home he was living in with his mom. Tragically, the boy's 2-year-old sister died in the fire. Right away, the mother had blamed Beavis and Butt-Head for influencing her son to setting the fire. She claimed that the 5-year-old boy, her son, Austin, became obsessed with Beavis and Butt-Head and watched them all the time. Within the week, news outlets all across the country covered the story about the fire. One program had Austin's grandmother on, crying and pleading to clean it up or take Beavis and Butt-Head off the air. All of these news programs slammed Beavis and Butt-Head left and right. It was really confusing to some people, as they were wondering how a TV show could lead to something so horrible. Everyone behind the scenes working on the show knew that the show wasn't responsible, but their hands were tied and they were told by MTV to change things up. So what happened to Beavis and Butt-Head after the fire controversy was this. The times of Beavis and Butt-Head being aired during the evening were pushed back all the way to 10:30 p.m. The disclaimer that would be shown at the beginning of each Beavis and Butt-Head episode was replaced with a new disclaimer that read, "Beavis and Butt-Head are not role models. They're not even human. They're cartoons. Some of the things they do would cause a person to get hurt, expelled, arrested, possibly deported. To put it another way, don't try this at home." This new disclaimer would continue to be shown during the original run of the series. What happened to the prior episodes themselves was that the first episode from Season 3, Comedians, was looked at as the main culprit for the reason the incident happened. The instances of seeing lighters, spraying aerosol cans near open flames, and the biggest thing, Beavis saying fire, got cut completely from all past episodes. As this took away Beavis's word that he loved saying, It pushed writers to find more inventive ways to make Beavis become a more versatile character. The crew working on the show at the time wondered what would happen to the entire show after this point, as at this point it could have possibly been canceled. It also didn't help that death threats were being sent to the show as well. But as history does have it, the show did go on, but it followed the guidelines. They found fun ways to dance around the joke of Beavis saying fire. A few examples in later episodes are when Beavis says, "Liar, liar, pants on," and then he stops himself before saying the word fire. Another one is when he's frying something at Burger World and he yells, "Fryer, fryer, fryer!" Personally, I think this is a good thing where it made better ideas for episodes ahead. So let's ask ourselves, were Beavis and Butt-Head to blame? Were they really that much of an influence? Well, let's go ahead into the future, and we are now in 2008, where the 5-year-old kid who set the fire, Austin, he's now grown up, and he let it known that he never seen a single episode of Beavis and Butt-Head. And as a matter of fact, they didn't even have cable when he was living with his mom and sister in the house. And thanks to Sean Beard, an avid Beavis and Butt-Head collector and a fan of the series, he wound up actually talking to Austin, and Austin had said that his mom called the news outlets before she even called the fire department. She completely made it up about Beavis and Butt-Head being responsible and her son being obsessed about them. And there's a theory that she had possibly seen Beavis and Butt-Head when she was at a bar a few weeks prior when they were doing some kind of skit on the MTV VMAs for 1993, and that's how it kind of stuck in her head, and when the tragedy happened, she used Beavis and Butt-Head as a scapegoat. Due to his mother's substance issues, among her blaming him later instead of Beavis and Butt-Head, Austin got away from his mother. The silver lining in this tragedy is that now Austin is living very well today. But due to the tragic incident that happened in his life, he understandably refrains from watching Beavis and Butt-Head. And that is the Beavis and Butt-Head fire controversy. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to follow the show on Facebook, you could search The Butt Chronicles on the Facebook thing and our page pops up, and yeah. I also have an Instagram. It's IIWR Podcast. It's not The Butt Chronicles, so don't try to search for that because I don't own anything with that on Instagram. So you can follow us there, keep up with the podcast, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, that is it. I am your host, DJ Glowing Ice, and this has been The Butt Chronicles, your audio guide to everything Beavis and Butt-Head. See you next time.